on anything you like. If you have any idea. Okay, great. All right. So, before moving ahead, there are two things that I want to mention. Number one is that the recording of this session will be made available on our social media platforms, so you can check out the recordings. And the second thing that we have a very special guest today with all of us who will be sharing his all of the expertise and experiences regarding the topic. And if you have any doubts, if you have any queries throughout the session, what you can do, you can write in the chat box, and our mentor and our guest speaker will go through the chat box and will answer the question at the end of the session after explaining the entire topic or after explaining the entire PPT. So if that is fine, give me a thumbs up. If I'm making any sense, guys, give me a thumbs up. Great. Thank you. So let us start with the session without any further delay. First of all, welcome Nishchay sir to this webinar. Uh, we can have you, right? I can see you.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Kritika, for this wonderful introduction. And a very warm good evening to everybody present for this particular session on brand marketing. I'm Nishchay, and I have been associated in the domain of marketing for last 5 years. And brand marketing is something that I have been consistently, doing it into my whatever professional career that has grown till now. So I'll be taking you guys along with me on this particular topic, which Gitika explained us, letting you know like what brand marketing is, how and what importance does a storytelling holds in this particular field for a brand to grow itself, and obviously the Q&As that would be there from your end at the end of session. We'll be taking that and having our session proceeded. So I'll be sharing my screen so that you guys can have a better understanding about the topic and everything. So once it's visible to you, just ping me up with a thumbs up or something. Yeah. Is the screen visible to each one of you? Gitika, you can just let me know like yes or no because I won't be on the meet screen. I would be at my end. So if there is a yes from everybody, just let me know.
Yes, it is
Okay,
visible.
sure. That's great. So guys, as we know about the particular topic for the day for this webinar is the power of storytelling in brand marketing. And this is basically about captivating your audience and making the lasting impressions for your on the audience so that your brand grows and along the outreach of your audience also grows. So let me proceed ahead. Yeah, so now we'll come to the first, say the first topic on this particular session, which is to understand what actually brand marketing is about. So brand marketing basically consists of promoting your brand, and for a brand, it could be a product or a service, and you highlight it through, the elements of your brand. So the elements consists of identity. With identity, I would like to let you know, like identity means what your brand holds, like whether it's something that communicates to Gen Z, it's something a product that communicates to a larger audience or an older audience. So that's the identity of your brand. Now, second comes the values that your brands bring in to the market. So with values, it's about like uh, say for example like what you are bringing. So I'll just give you an example. We know about Nike, right? Everybody knows about Nike shoes, one of the most pioneer shoe manufacturers in the globe today. But do we know that the Air Jordans that Nike has kind of, everybody is popular amongst the youth and everybody, Jordans are very popular. So the first Jordan that was launched was in 1985. So that's the time that Nike launched its first Jordan, and with the tagline that it follows with "Just Do It." So that tagline imposes on personifying the brand into each individual through the athleticism, through the sports, bringing the sports people into it and everything. So that's the value which the brand brings in. And the third thing that comes up as the part of brand's promotion is promise. Now with promise, it's about like what kind of feedback that your brand holds once it comes to the market. and how well the audience is responding to it. Like I mentioned to you about Nike, so the first Air Jordan was launched in 1985, and it's close to, like, coming to more than, say, 40 years now, close to 40 years now, and it's still active. That particular shoe line is still active in the market. That's because it brings a promise to it for the audience to grasp into it. So that's what the brand marketing holds for us. Now, many of us would say, like, there are other methods also in marketing, like traditional methods where you focus on goals, you focus on promotions based on offline promotions, like not exactly social media, and also the sales part of it. So where the brand marketing distinguishes from the traditional marketing is basically creating a long-term relationship with your audience, with your target audience, basically. So, like I gave you an example of Nike, like how coming to 40 years now in the market for their, the Jordan line, the shoe line, it's still very much active and very much appreciated by the audience. So that is what Nike has created for itself, a long-term relationship among the customers, and it's part of its brand marketing. You can say mono promotion or something. So that's what about the brand marketing. Now there are certain components, like, what kind of makes your brand strong. uh, so first of all, it comes about the logo, it comes about the colors, the typography, and these all are part of any brand's element, right? So for example, we say about Apple as a brand. Now what clicks to us for an Apple is basically its logo, the cutted shaped Apple figure that we see on any iPhone or any Apple device on, right? So that's what is the one of the components of the strong brand identity for Apple. And similarly for Nike, if you go, it's the swoosh or the tick mark that you see on a, like, Nike brand. So basically, these are the components of a strong brand. Now coming to the next part is basically how and what these visual elements appeal to the audience. For example, like Nike. So just to give you a reference, the Nike's logo, the swoosh logo for Nike, was designed by a design intern. It was not done by somebody of a big experience in the domain of designing. It was done by an intern who was interning at that time, just below the age of 20 or something, and she was a female, basically. She designed the logo for Nike, the swoosh logo that we see, the tick mark, basically, for the Nike's brand identity, and it became a visual element for the brand to kind of communicate itself as a strong brand in the market. So that's what the components bring in. So it's very important for any brand to have its the logos, the colors, the typography to be reflected exactly amongst the audience, so that it becomes, or it grows, a strong presence in the marketplace. Now building, so basically moving ahead, we'll talk about, like, how to build a basic brand strategy. Are you guys into it? I mean, like, uh, is it explanatory to everybody? Are you feeling like it's the session is going good or something? Just give some thumbs up or something. It would be nice to. Yeah, thank you everyone. So moving ahead on, like, how, and so for example, like, if someone from you people are looking to pursue yourselves in the marketing domain, as a professional, and you are looking to kind of, you are part of any startups or any new enterprises, and want to kind of build uh, a brand strategy from your end. So what are the things that you need to keep in mind, so that you are able to kind of hold, or give a strong hold of your position also, and bring a element of innovation, an element of the X factor from your outreach. So I'll just take you through that. So first thing comes is the research and insight. Now with research and insight, it's basically about knowing how well your target audience is there in the market, right? So just to again give you an example on this. So if you have seen the latest documentary on Nike, so you'll see that in the year just before the launch of Air Jordans, it's one of the most famous shoe line. Nike kind of had a strategy, a marketing strategy, where their then assistant sales executive, I'm just forgetting the guy's name, but it's a very, I mean, like a 50 or 45 years old story. So please pardon me on that. Uh, but then this guy, this assistant sales executive, he went to the university level NBA competitions or the basketball competitions because basketball is a very popular, and I think it's the national game for the US also. So he went to these universities. He gouged onto the target audience that could be there would be these young recruits, these young players who are going to bid themselves up into the market of basketball playing. So Nike targeted them and wanted to launch this particular Air Jordan, and things happen, and then Jordan comes in, the Michael Jordan comes into the picture, and rest is a history. So knowing your audience, your target audience, is a very critical thing for any brand. And how you do it, you do market research about it, you do demographic research about it, you do psychographic research about it. Like for demographic research, it could be like, what are your target audience based on, like tier 2 cities, tier 1 cities, metro cities, these kind of demographics you focus on. Psychography is basically like, what kind of audience are you looking at? Are these teenagers? Are these groups that are between 25 to 35 years of age? Or are we looking at some target audience that is beyond the 40 years of age? So this is the research that is involved at your end. So you'll have to do that. And today you have various strategies to follow these. You have various tools in the market today to do that, and you get the research and insight out of it. So this is the first and most critical element of a brand strategy building. Second is basically the brand vision and mission basically. So about the vision and mission is, it could be different for each brand, right? If we talk about somebody who's into a D2C, D2C means like direct to consumer brands, brands like whose products you use as a consumer directly. So for them, vision and mission would be a different task. But something that comes up as a brand who is a business to business entity brand, for them, a vision and mission would vary. So it's a very critical thing based on like what vision and mission that you carry forward. You need to strategize well along, like what are the initiations, or what are the shortcomings, what are the things that you need to push along when you're building a brand strategy, and accordingly you take these things forward. And just to let you know, like for Nike brand, when they just designed their logo and when they had this tagline, just do it. So this just do it tagline is basically about inspiring and promoting you, the individual, not just an athlete, not just a sports personality, but an individual who's looking to, grow themselves up, and who are looking to sustain themselves up in the market. So that's the strategy which Nike followed by just giving a simple tagline of just do it. And it resonated so well amongst the youth, amongst the, not just the youth, but the people in large, who are looking to grow themselves up and choosing Nike as a elementary sportswear, including in their day-to-day life. So that's a very critical thing. So once you are in a task where you need to define all these things, where a brand vision and mission also comes in. So you need to make sure that, okay, these are the action items, these are the things that I need to make sure that they come in the table, and along they are followed in my branding strategy. Moving ahead, it's about creating a brand story. Now, the storytelling part, which we had in the start of the session, comes to the picture at this very moment, because a brand story is very critical for you to, kind of promote and be relevant in the market, because the competition is increasing. So just to give you an idea about this, we all know about Apple, right? We know that Apple each year it launches, new products in the market, be it iPhones, be it iPads, or any other innovation that Apple does. But then why do you think that an Apple is so much successful and not any other mobile or a smartphone manufacturer? What is the reason behind it? Right? We need to understand that. That what is the reason? Because everybody is consuming it, right? The phone devices are kind of similar. You get a touch screen, uh, you get those features like tapping features, everything. Uh, the iOS, okay, the operating system is a different thing, but then the user interface is kind of a similar thing for a mobile phone device. But then why is it that a brand like Apple is able to resonate so much among the market and not the other brands? So the reason behind it is that Apple has created itself as a brand story amongst its audience, its customer. It's not a product, it's not a service that you are getting. They have kind of, and stabilizing itself as a brand or something, that's top notch in the market. So for example, Apple is critical for its innovation, right? Each year they are innovating, they are bringing you something else out of the box in the market. Apart from that, they are also making sure that the target audience that is already there, or the target audience that is going to reach out to them, is understanding their value, is understanding that why is it important to have the best, you can say, the phone manufacturer's brand in your hands. Why is it critical? It is because they have created this brand story where everybody knows that, okay, oh, I need an Apple because I need the best in the market. I need the best innovation in the market. I need the best experience, the user's experience of a mobile phone in the market. So that is why I will go for a Apple. So that is why, and that's what the storytelling comes in. For storytelling, there could be different aspects to it. For example, like I told you, for Apple, it's more of focusing on innovation and making sure it's the top leader uh, in the mobile category or the mobile innovation in the market. For say example, something similar to we talk about the Indian brand like a boat. So for example, boat would focus on being the best. Manufacturer brand or the earphone manufacturer brand, giving the experience of music listening, giving me the best experience of kind of having the immersive audio experience which you don't have with other brands in the market. So everybody has their own brand stories, but the critical element out of a brand story is how perfect your storytelling sticks to the audience, and you need to kind of work on that. So for example, if you just I'll give you an example on the Apple itself. So when Steve Jobs was alive, so Steve Jobs has a very different aspect of doing these launches. Every year, Apple does a launch in 12th September, right? Where they bring in their iPhones or any kind of new innovation. They talk about it. So when Steve Jobs was the CEO of Apple, he has a very different aspect to doing it. Then when Tim Cook comes in and the marketing strategizes and everything happens, so they took a step forward. They took something including more and more audience, a larger based audience, like the digital audience being included in the events and sharing the viewpoint, grasping the insights, the feedback that's coming out from them also. So these are the different part of storytelling, or the instances of building a brand story that we do, and it's a very critical element for building a brand. So that's what about it. Now coming to the aspects of implementation and an execution. So whatever I briefed you out right now till now, it was more about letting you know how things are going to shape up for a brand to kind of bring itself into the market and scale up. Now we'll know like how the implementation and execution actually has to take place so that the brand sustains, so that the brand generates the value, so that the brand is able to create its own market, creates its own user base, and kind of generate the economics out of it also, and have a longer run in the market also. So first of all, we'll talk about the brand touch points. Now, brand touch points are basically, these are some of the interactions basically which actually a brand has directly with the customer. And so it could be online, it could be offline. For example, we see nowadays many of the promotions that take place on the social media domains. Any of the brands do for their new launches or something. They do these kind of an event where a giveaway could be done, where people interact with some kind of an objective that's there in the market. It could be a social media campaign that's running, and out of it, X number of peoples are selected, and amongst them, a small amount of people are given goodies, small amount of people are given something else. So these are the touch points that a brand is creating amongst the customers, so that you know so for example, it's about customers. You have to build that kind of connect. You have to build that kind of communication with your customer. uh, Older, uh, you can say the traditional strategies were more focused on making sure that, okay, we are a brand, we are bringing this to the market. Now, we are open. Now come to us. Let's see how you respond. Then we'll formulate few things. But in last decade or, uh, you know, uh, 20 years, the whole scenario has completely changed when the social media has come into the picture, because social media today holds a very extreme reach in kind of building that connection with the customer. And you're getting the feedback on instant. It's not a delayed feedback. Your team does not needs to work months or 6 months or years to kind of cater like whether your product is creating that kind of hype in the market or not. It's just today a week's time, maybe less than a week's time, that you get the insight. Okay, the thing is working. Let's push the next step. Or if it's not working, let's revise the step and move ahead on some other direction. So that's what the importance does the online, the medium brings in for the brand touch points today. And just to highlight on this, like elements could be your social media platforms, it could be your websites, it could be your other communication channels like YouTube or any kind of video channels that brands associated. So these are all the tools that your brand touchpoint works upon. Now, second point on the implementation and execution is about leveraging these digital platforms. So it's very easy. Like, we know that, okay, Instagram is quite active, YouTube is quite active, uh, Google is quite active. Then you have your personal websites also for brands. But how to leverage those? Because it's not a thing that, each content works everywhere. It doesn't happen. For an Instagram audience, the content needs to be completely different from what an audience you are going to cater on a LinkedIn platform or a Twitter platform. So today, it's very important to understand each digital platform that your brand is going to operate upon. Accordingly, you need to strategize, like, each target audience for each of these digital platforms that your brand is going to link itself up, and then these strategies comes up and the execution and implementations accordingly take place with that. Moving ahead, so now we explained about the brand elements. We know about them, how to come them, and market them. Then there are the touch points that we know. Now comes the content marketing. Like, content here, with content, it's about the communication basically that goes to the target audience, that goes to your consumers, your future consumers, your target audience. Now with the content, it's not about just you know writing or a written content or say a digital content. Content is basically something that has a higher engagement rate and is able to attract the right amount of target audience for you. And this content could be segregated or spread out in terms of different mediums. And these mediums could be blogs, these mediums could be social media posts, these mediums could be still creatives. These mediums could be videos. These mediums could be reels and shorts that we see today in the popularities. These mediums could be getting influencer based, collaborations. So these are all part of now content marketing, that we kind of term it as a content marketing. But these all inclusions, these are implementations, are part of the whole picture of content marketing. And it depends. Like I told you about Nike's involvement on launching Air Jordans. Nike followed the scheme at those 40 years back, where they visited each university, because their target audience was going to be these youths that are into the sports domain. So they targeted them, and with that targeting they kind of created a strategy where you go to the university matches, you watch those matches, then you connect with those youth people. If somebody is interested, bring them on board, bring them on a trial to a city level wherever they have their housing spaces built in, and you give them those accommodations, you promote them, you kind of create a culture of uh, the oneness amongst those people. So that's what stays today also. I mean, like, the engagement has changed, obviously. Like I gave you example of blogs, like other contents like video content, reels, shorts, posts, and everything that has changed. But the idea of connecting the user still remains the same, because you have to channelize the user. You have to make sure that you are building the connect with the end audience, and once that connect is built, obviously it grows on the trust, and obviously authorizes your brand to leverage that kind of engagement for a longer term in the market. Now, coming to the next part, it's about measuring and adapting. Now, once you are done with all the initial steps into your brand marketing, once you are done with the implementation of the various segments of the brand marketing, now comes the measuring part. Now, how you are going to measure that, whether those attributes, whether those communications, or whether those implementations are working for your brand or not working. So basically today, since brands focus highly on the online engagements, so there are tools basically in the market. Whether we talk about website engagements, whether we talk about the social media engagements, you can map out those. You have the tools ready in the market that helps you understand, that helps you take the insight, like how well your audience is behaving. You can track the hourly engagements, you can track the uh, weekly engagements, you can track, like, where the locations that, or the demographics that you are targeting, whether your target audience is able to reach out to your content or not through these kind of tools. And I think you all, or somebody who has been keen into the brand marketing, must be aware of Google Analytics to track your website related engagements. Uh, Various social media tools like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, they have their own insights based tools, right, where they give you an insights of the engagements that take place. So that's there. And then you can even do customer surveys. So basically customer surveys are the surveys that you can implement through your channels, your social media channels, and grasp out like how well your audience is going to look ahead on the progress that your brand has made, and whether it's being successful or not. So these surveys are launched in the market, and you can trace them out with the digital tools that are available today at our behest. So that's how you measure it. Then comes the feedback and adaptation. Now, feedback is a very critical aspect to grow your brand, right? So, yeah, it's very important to first strategize about the ideations, starting your brand, what value does your product or your service brings in, categorizing it, then working on the content part, and then working on the implementation and execution. But once you do that, and once you measure those implementations and the outcomes, then comes the feedback part. So just to give you an explanation, for example, like a brand like Boat maybe. So if they kind of partner with an athlete of, say, Indian team, and they see, like, they want to launch a new headphone series, and they will partner with an ex person from the Indian cricket team, or any of the Indian sports domain. Now they do it with video content. Basically, they promote those videos on each of their social media platforms. They do some reels also. They do some shorts also for YouTube and everything. Now, when their team looks into this particular data, they might get an insight that the video content that went into LinkedIn, the video content that went into Facebook, Twitter, or XYZ platform didn't do that well, which the reel did, which they posted a reel with that person, a short less than 60 seconds clip, which they posted about with that person. That could be the strategy, could be the content strategy, could be anything at their end, but that generated a good engagement amongst the youth, amongst their target audience, whichever they were targeting, the demographics that they were targeting, that has the higher engagement rate, the highest engagement rate amongst all the video generations at all other platforms. So now they take that feedback. Okay, so reel is a version, is a kind of content that's working majorly for us. So now what they do next is like they promote that particular content or similar content to each of the platforms in social media platforms. And once they do, they see a higher engagement rate on each of the platform. So this is the feedback that they get. So after the research, after the analytics, after the analysis, you get the feedback that okay, this particular version on the video, which is reels, is working for you. You adapt that and you execute that at in your later on strategy, in your next step of your branding strategy, and that works for you. So that is how you need to grasp the feedback, you need to adapt to it, and you need to relaunch, you need to refocus on your strategy. And that is the way of staying relevant, and that is the way of being effective in the marketplace for your domain. Moving ahead, now, so for example, like just case studies. So, like I gave you an example of the video about a brand called a boat. I'm just taking this as an example. There is no direct link to it on it, but case studies and these kind of examples are a part of a larger prospects of kind of initiating with your audience on a regular basis, and making them understand like what values, what kind of uh, feedbacks, implementations are being actively pursued at their end also, right? So, for example, if I uh, tell you, so Airbnb. So we all know about Airbnb, right? It's a platform where you book those home getaways, those homes, during your travel and everything up, and you enjoy those travel experience. But just to tell you, Airbnb started as a mattress lending platform. So these two founders of Airbnb, they just lended their air mattresses uh, to the audience. And I suppose they used to live in London or something during that time, and they used to lend their mattresses to somebody, people who wants to party, on weekends or something. So they used to lend their mattresses for people to sleep over, and that's how the Airbnb started. And with that Airbnb started, so they generated this particular feedback from the people, like people need to go out there, people need something apart from hotels, people need something apart from the regular engagements, the regular travel engagements. So they thought on this. They looked into the case studies, like how a hotel like with a 50 years of span in the market, why is it losing its customer base? Why they are not able to attract the customer, a new customer that much? The retention rate is why it's not higher. So case studies also bring kind of a very critical aspect to understanding more about your brand strategies. But then it depends. I mean, like for example, for a startup, for a initial growing enterprise, case studies could be something that could come on a later stage, because you need to interact with a quite larger audience base, or you need to implement your products, your services in a market for a certain period of time, where you grasp it out from them, like whether or not what has worked on, what has not worked on, how the things performed on certain criterias or certain implementations, how it didn't do. So that's how you create a case study around. And once a case study is created, obviously it's a good thing for your organization, for your team, for your marketing, for your sales team to have an insight of, like, how well your product did for that particular initiation or implementation. But then it's a very long process at one's end. Once you are building, once if you are working at a brand which has already has its own value in the market, it's been there for decades or 5 years or more than 2 decades, 3 decades, then obviously case studies is something that you can equally be understood or get at your behest from the starting of your brand association or the brand marketing strategies association. So you can leverage that from the starting day, but then it depends on each of those. So if it's a newly business that has started to brand itself up, case studies might take a time, but then these are very critical elements to kind of help you on progressing ahead or knowing more about like what worked for you for that particular implementation or that strategy. So these are very good to have at your behest. Now moving ahead, we can talk about like certain emerging trends in brand marketing, and these are could be, so like I just briefed you about like how channelization through online and offline has taken place for brands to market them in this particular last a decade or a 2 decade. There are certain emerging trends also that we can witness today. So for example, if each of one might be knowing about it, that OpenAI, right? Chat GPT as a tool, we must know about this. So this just came into picture just a one, maybe you can say 16 to 18 months back in the market, but it has created such a large impact in the market that each domain today is kind of aligning itself to the usage of AI, uses of data analytics, and understanding your prospects better. So these are certain emerging trends that we see in the market. As a marketer, for whosoever is of you is interested and going to kind of get into this as a profession, it's very important to grasp these emerging trends. uh, it's not like something that's come in the market and you are of the idea, okay, let's wait for something, let's wait for our competitors, let's wait for the user feedback on this particular emergence, and let's take a decision post knowing about it. So it's better that your team shall also have an insight, your team shall have a, a creative mindset at your end to kind of look and grasp these emerging trends that are actively being pursued in the market. Try them out. Do not hesitate it, because marketing, one more thing about marketing is that there is no uh, there is no scope of hesitation in marketing. You need to try out things. Success and failure are part of it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry that, okay, if I'll present something up, is my team going to respond to it? Is my team, my senior leadership is going to approve that or not? That's a different thing from your end. Don't focus on that. Just focus on how well you can create yourself up, how well you can strategize, how well you can kind of be actively engaged with the innovations, with the leading trends in the market, and you are incorporating and you are ready to kind of give a roadmap to your team, so that you guys are ready to incorporate these kind of digital trends that are flowing in the market into your business expertise, into your marketing expertise, and take things forward. So this is a very critical kind of a thing that you shall keep in mind once you are building yourself in the digital marketing or brand marketing kind of professional field. So being connected to emerging trends is a very, very, very critical thing for any of the marketing professionals. So guys, that's where my presentation ends. Uh, so I'll be just coming back to you guys and getting to know from you, like how is the feedback been? Were you able to grasp a good knowledge out of it? And if there are any questions from your end, I could answer them. Okay, so Paris Joshi is asking a question, and he's asking like, what innovative techniques can brand employ to differentiate them from competitors? Paris, like I told you, so innovation is a very wider spectrum in itself, right? So with innovation, it could be so like just ending on my slide, I talked to you about the emerging trends in the market, right? The incorporation of AI, the incorporation of digital analytics into your scope of branding strategy. So that is a very critical thing. So you need to be open to the site, like what are the emerging trends that are going in the market, be it AI, be it machine learning, be it any kind of the innovations that are happening in the market, and how well your product, your brand is able to capitalize on that. So it's also a very important thing to first of all look what the emerging trend is, and then to comprehend it with like how and well it can be structured with your brand's product. And if it's a good thing, then obviously you can go ahead with that. Okay. Girisha Shah is asking us, how can someone that comes from the glamour industry as a makeup artist create a brand story for their service? Girisha, actually, I haven't kind of worked with any glamour industry organizations till now, but because of my insight, or because of just to kind of give you an input as a general marketing insight for growing your because it's a D2C, right? Because at a glamour industry also you are connecting with direct to the consumer. So it could be sorry, pardon me on this. It could be best if you can first of all uh, get the idea of what kind of target audience are you looking to cater at. Are these going to be the so you need to create a demography also. So what are the locations that you are going to pitch this audience, and then it would be the what kind of uh, the age group and the genders that you are looking to target your audience with. Once you are ready with that, work on the content. So content is very critical because content is something that is going to differentiate you from your competitors. And this content, so you can leverage on say video, because videos do very much impressive for a B2C to cater directly to the consumer. So focus on a video content. You can try out reels, you can try out shorts as something to promote your product. Uh, it would be very critical for you to first create an awareness among the audience about your brand. So it could be a short reel that you can focus on describing like what services you are offering. Then it could be about what different products that you offer, and even if you want to kind of bring into kind of just share a market pricing or something relatable to your competition, you can do that. So that way your audience will know more about you, they'll generate a trust about you. And once you do this, I think from the third or fourth step, you'll be able to see the results out of it, and get the hinge of promoting your brand well. So I think I answered that question for you. Raju Bhardwaj is asking us, can you please repeat the strategies of branding used by Nike? Raju, actually, actually we can't actually talk about the direct strategies on this about particular brands because this goes against the guidelines of you know copyright and everything. I just gave you an idea about how s- Nike channelized one of its most effective shoe line, which is the Jordan. And so the strategy, so it's a very it's a 40 years back strategy. It's not today's strategy, right? Because today the digital medium has kind of completely changed uh, the ball game, and today you are focusing on these small connections, the direct connections with your users. But that time Nike was prominent to build itself. So I'm telling you this as in general perspective. Please don't get it as a direct strategy from Nike. Like I told you, we cannot discuss that this openly because these are copyright issues. So just on the journal aspects, what Nike focused on, like they wanted to treat youngster sportsmen and want to build their brand through them. So they created that. They went to the universities. They hired, went on the NBA games. So basketball is a very popular game in US, and they targeted those youngsters that were playing at school level, university level. They brought them up. They created kind of small camps with them, small games with them, competitions with them, and build their brand through them. And Michael Jordan himself comes from this particular initiative of Nike, and rest is a history. Like Michael Jordan being out of the game from last 1.5 decade, still his brand, his shoe is so much popular in the market. So that's the strategy which Nike followed. Yeah. Uh, okay. Okay, Girisha, thanks for the response. Uh, okay, Paris Joshi is asking another question. Nowadays, blogs are becoming difficult to market since people are losing the interest to read because of reels and shorts. How can brands promote their blogs effectively? Paris, the thing is that if you differentiate, so like I told you, the implementation part in our marketing slide. So, uh, you know, there are there is going to be different feedback. So, for example, if you do a video content based marketing, obviously that's a very different aspects of reach to the audience than basically a content that's relatable to a readable thing like a blog, right? The market of blog is not down actually, and so basically I've worked with organizations that have been 1,000 plus employees in the market and being amongst the top 100 brands in India itself. So this strategy is a very differentiator for each brand. Like I explained you also earlier, also it depends on each brand's like how we want to cater. A blog always remains in the market, right? So for example, if you write a good blog, and a blog needs to be informative. It's not about selling. In a blog you don't sell anything. You inform the user about your products. You can inform about like how your brand has grown, what impact you have created in the market. So blogs are basically you want to give insights to the user and inform them why you are a differentiator in the market from your competitors. If you write blogs those way, even today, you can make blogs impactful. You can make them impactful by including, data points. You can make them impactful by including video links also in these blogs. You can use imaginary that is very relevant to the topic. So if you kind of curate that blog in that terms, I am hopeful that blogs will do better for you also. Obviously, the engagement is a different aspects between videos and the readable content, but blogs needs to be strategized, channelized in a very impactful way, and they'll give you results in the market. And I'm telling you this out of my experience, my own experience. So they do work. Yeah. Arnab Chatterjee is asking us, please suggest what strategies to implement if social media content such as reels or approaching celebrities doesn't work out or our budget is low. Absolutely, Arnab. See, so social media's power is that even if you're not doing the paid campaigns, paid promotional campaigns, still your content can hold the relevance, right? All you need to do is that you need to work on the content very much, making it very engaging, making it very eventful before it goes out to the customer, and you can try out. So it's not about you know working on just one phase and getting the results. Like I told you, after the implementation, getting the feedback and reworking, rechannelizing, revising your strategy is a very critical aspect. Once you do that, obviously you'll see the result without going ahead with the paid promotions also. Have those reels run. For example, if your brand is something who's very much into, I'm just giving you an example. If your brand is very much into grasping the video content from the market, go for reels, go for shorts. Look out for adding a relevant music that approaches whatever you are communicating uh, through your reel. And always, so for example, you can try out various different things. Memes are a very critical thing in the market. So try out and bring a strategy for where you are implementing a 2 weeks, a three weeks trial based videos that are meme focused, and they are meme focused, but they are educating your client base, your user base about your brand. So you can do that. Try out multiple strategies. Take the feedback. Work on after 2 weeks different strategies. Next 2 weeks different strategies. And at some point, without going for the paid campaigns, you will get results coming in. Just to make sure the results don't come on a single day or on a single strike. It takes time. It takes you to build market, and that's why we discuss the importance of storytelling. Like for example of any brands you see today, be it Nike, be it Apple, uh, be it Adidas, be it any brand that's there in the market. It has taken them time. It has taken them decades to build that confidence amongst their audience. So you try it out, you take the feedback, rework on that, and you grow. So that would be my answer for that. Mm, thanks for the feedback, Paris. Uh, thanks for the feedback, Arnab.
Nice.
Uh, somebody else wants to bring in any questions, or are we good for the session?
I think we can wait for a couple of minutes, let's say 2 to 3 minutes, till then
Sure,
students can write their queries if they're having any.
sure.
And in the meantime, thank you, Nishchay sir, for joining the session. Thank you for sharing all the expertise and all the knowledge. It was such an informative session and engaging as well. I believe a lot of students are going to take a lot from the session, including me. So
Uh,
thank you so
thanks for the feedback, Ritika. It's very appreciative because I too started my journey being a student. I came from a technical background. Marketing was something that I was not aware of it, but yeah, I took internships, I took traineeships, and I grew myself up. It's so marketing is a domain where you need to along with these strategies, you need to have that kind of mindset. You need to build yourself up and channelize yourself up into helping those enterprises that you are part of. And it's a very vast domain, very appreciating domain, a very capable domain to kind of grow your profession also. So all the best to you guys, whosoever are looking to kind of progress ahead with marketing. And yeah, I'll be open to you guys. You can connect me on LinkedIn or anything, and would be happy to help you if anything needed. I think we have a question from Gauridhar.
much.
Okay. Gauridhar asking in a food industry to be specific food premixes, what kind of content or strategy would help with better reach? Because just posting professional content like information about the product or the history of the product is not helping with reach on LinkedIn. Okay. So Gaurav, actually, I have a I have a bit experience with the food branding. Actually, I just when I started, I had a tie up with one of the brands, and I kind of helped them up. So one thing, so they have this. So I don't know like what your food content is basically about. Either it's a solid food or it's a liquid food, or are you promoting something that's nutritional based or something? What we focused on that information sharing was very critical. The strategy one was that we wanted to build the engagement. Obviously, engagement will take time, and LinkedIn as a platform is a very different one. So what you can try out is that instead of I don't know like what kind of posts that you are generating. Are these video posts? Are these image or still graphics? Or are these simple text posts that you are focusing on? I would suggest you kind of go for something kind of carousel post. So carousel is basically a combination of at least 4 to 5 different images, and in these images you can give an explanation about your product. Take one product at a time. Give an information about, you can say, share an information about its nutritional value. Then on the second slide you can or the image you can share about a brief like how it has impacted your users. So you can just share a data point with your audience like last quarter or last this much duration, how much people have kind of responded to your feedback, a percentage in your growth. And then you can engage with what kind of newness are you going to bring in this kind of product of yours. So this way you can talk about carousel posts do good. Then video content is quite active on that. Just on the video content part, focus more about on your product part rather than information. Highlight more things about your product. With product, I want to tell you about, show them like if you are, if you have your own factory or something, or you are processing the food in any ways, involve them with the process of your food execution, of your food's product execution. I think these strategies will work for you. The brand that I worked on was for, basically they were like a very, they had this very dietary liquid supplement to them, and they had just one product. So we had like we worked on the carousel, like I told you. We engaged the audience on the product part. Then we created few videos where we explain them or we show them the process about it. We even talked about like how our brand is doing well. Sharing kind of if somebody has commented in your post, be it on LinkedIn, be it on Insta or something. Do use Instagram because I hope that your audience is a direct consumer audience. So Instagram could be a very vital tool for you. Do use Instagram to promote your brand. It will generate great results for you. It will take time, but you know, say in a quarter's time of implementing of branding strategies, you'll see good results out of Instagram also. So do that. Engage well with your audience. If somebody is commenting good about you on your post, reply to them. Even a simple thank you is a very good response to the audience, because they'll build that, builds a trust in them, and they'll seek that you are a trusted brand in the market. So I would suggest you these activities, and hopefully you'll see good results in the future uh, with the implementation of these. Prav Singh is asking which college and premise is best for learning specializations in marketing through MBA. Well, MBA, I don't have that expertise of MBA because I haven't done that. But then obviously you have the Google, as well as if you are doing it through IIM or certain kind of an offsite based campus, then obviously you can detail out more on that. Uh, but I suggest you that if you are doing it, go for the best, because today marketing has become a very, it's become a business also in the market, and you get very uh, people are selling those certificates. People are selling just in the name of marketing anything to you. So just make sure that whatever you are going is a foolproof thing. Test it out, try it out, have a research about it, and accordingly take your decision. And don't do it in a hurry. Don't do it in a hurry. And if you want to do something that's kind of apart from this and online based, always go for Google based or a good that's there in the market, certified platforms in the market like Pregrad or something, but never go to just with the flow. Yeah. Okay, guys, I think that's the end of questions because thanks for the response, guys. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah.
I think we are almost covered up with all the questions for today.
Mhm.
If any of them are having any kind of questions, you guys can always reach out to Nishchay sir on his LinkedIn, if I'm not wrong.
Absolutely, Gitika. I'm ready to help you guys. Any questions you have, any doubts you have on the branding or marketing as a general, please reach out to me, and I'll be happy to help you at my potential. Yeah.
Perfect. So I have already shared this LinkedIn ID of search with you in the chat box, and also I've shared this WhatsApp group. So if you're attending, if you are joining the WhatsApp group, I will also drop the PPT and search ID again in the WhatsApp group, so students can join the group for more further updates and recording of today's session. And thank you everybody for joining. Thank you all of the students for joining and taking the time out and moving one step towards upskilling yourself. And thank you, Nishya sir, for such an informative session and for such an engaging session. First of all, it was there were a lot of new things that we have learned. For an example, the Nike one. So I believe a lot of us will be implementing all of those in our upcoming journey of life and upcoming journey of marketing life. Let's say that. And yes, that is it. Thank you, sir, for joining. Thank you, students, for joining. We are very much looking forward to see you at more of such events, and we would love to conduct more marketing events as well.
Thanks, Gitika. Thanks for the response. Appreciate that. Whatever you have said. Thanks to everybody who has been part of the session, who shared their questions, and who listened to us. Thank you so much. It has been a delightful session for me also. And obviously, I look forward to help, sorry for that, each one of you in coming future in any ways, even if it requires me to again come and give a session at Pregrad, I'll be open to that. And thanks for your cooperation, everybody. Thanks. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.